Yeah.
Hey, how are we doing, everybody? Sorry, I'm a little awkward when I start. There's a little delay. How are we doing, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Yeah, me, Gibbles, and my host. I think I'm pointing the right way. Kula. Um, we have a
Hello.
pretty interesting set of topics to talk about. It's a little over the place, but there is some pretty exciting stuff. We got new Elden Ring DLC story trailer dropped. We have some really cool information coming out of Final Fantasy 14 right now for the next expansion. Kingdom Hearts Steam debut. A lot of cool information.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. I'm excited.
Yeah. So what are we going to start with today?
Well, I think the fastest and easiest one, that's kind of like some people are like, yeah, some people are like, it's about time, is obviously the Kingdom Hearts is now being released on Steam. This has been a long time coming, right? I mean, every console has this thing, even Switch, which doesn't even really have it. Like, let's be fair, Switch doesn't have Kingdom Hearts for real on their consoles. It's all stream. It's stream only, which is ridiculous. Like, I get like I've been on the stream, the Microsoft, the Nintendo store the last little bit, and they're doing a lot of like, hey, you can stream these games now, and I'm like, yeah, but like, okay, dedicated internet connection, right? And like, it's a stream at 1080 versus what they were supposed to be, which for most of them was 4K. So it's like, but yeah, congrats to Steam players who, if you haven't played this game in some form or another, you finally get to play the series. I think this says to me that with the what we talked about last time and the knowing that Kingdom Hearts 4 will be coming out at some point, that this is going to be a situation where they are going to release it on every console at launch.
Yeah, probably that would make sense because I mean, Square already did just say that they were going to move away from exclusives, so it would make sense for them
individual platform exclusives.
Yeah, instantly do that. I'll replay Kingdom Hearts 3. Maybe I'll buy it on Steam when there's like a giant mod like Dark Souls Convergence mod or something like that. Like
the story, how it should have been.
Well, it's like not even necessarily that. Like, dude, like Kingdom Hearts 2, a game that released like 10 years prior, 3 console editions prior.
Yeah.
Had more content, had more worlds, and the worlds were longer.
Yep.
Like, I can go on a rant for 2 hours long on why
most people
I don't like Kingdom Hearts 3. I sat and I watched like I actually like I came across it like this is like about a year ago. I came across a YouTube video like 4 hours long of like why Kingdom Hearts 3 sucked, and I was like, we're less listening to that, and I listened to that all day at work.
It's true. A lot of people didn't like it. I liked what they did with the add-on. Like, I felt like, in my opinion, they kind of came back a little bit with the add-on. I'm in some of the very, very small minority in that case. Like, a lot of people were very not happy with what was done.
Remind?
So, yeah, the Remind stuff kind of brought things back a little bit, but not enough for a lot of people to be like, this is worthwhile.
I don't know, I've never really cared about boss rushes too much, and they really focused on that with the Remind. It's like, you picked up a small community of your community, but like, yeah,
feel it.
But modding is definitely a really big thing, and I know a lot of people are. I don't really want to buy it I own Kingdom Hearts on every edition that's ever released ever. From the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4, all of the remakes, remasters. I don't need to buy it on the PC.
Yep.
But I do hope it does well, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to send a signal to other video games companies to release their games that have been exclusives on PC and stuff like that. Like, right. Sony, please release Bloodborne on PC, please.
Yeah, that one's gonna be a hard sell.
Give me a 60 FPS It helps
That's
people
gonna
like
be
you.
a really hard sell.
Give me 60 FPS and moddable Bloodborne. I need it.
They haven't said that they aren't working on Bloodborne remake, but they said that after like the stuff from Elden Ring cools down. Like I read something where they had an interview with him saying like once the Elden Ring stuff finishes and cools down, they finish kind of fixing some of the major bugs that they see that they will
Is it Miyazaki?
yeah, it was Miyazaki. Said that he's
okay.
gonna go back and do something with one of the more beloved franchises that he worked on, which
Nice.
all signs point to Bloodborne. I mean,
Yes.
to be fair.
Yeah. I'm in favor of because the problem with Bloodborne, the real problem with it is it's owned by Sony, is who actually owns Bloodborne, and that's the problem because Sony's the one who footed the bill of the entire game. And so that's why it was a Sony exclusive. It's why it hasn't released like better or a remake or anything more like that. And
So,
a Bloodborne,
yes and no.
a Bloodborne 2 would have to go through Sony as well.
So Alex, yes and no. I agree with you, and I'm going to disagree with you. Right? It helps the generalized public. Right? Multi-platform releases helps the generalized public, but what it doesn't help is console sales to be able to try to get people to buy consoles, right? If you're releasing everything day and day on every major system, there's no incentive to buy a particular console. So I think what?
Sorry. Go ahead. I have a thing.
I think that you're still going to see like I think the multi-platform mentality is going to be for developers that are not bound to consoles. So like your Squares, and those companies where they can make their own thing, FromSoft, those companies. But like when it comes to like PlayStation exclusives, I don't think you'll be seeing any kind of change to the schedule for release on them being a delay for PC, with the exception of maybe their live service stuff like they did with Helldivers.
So my argument on that is that take that last phrase, the way of the future. The way of the future is no platforms.
Right.
There's gonna be platforms, but it's gonna be streaming services for video games. It's going to be cloud services. That's the future. As much as
it'll be a device you
like
plug into your TV that's about yay big and doesn't care, and they do all the processing on their side.
Yeah, it'll grant access to a lot more people, but I feel like at the end it's going to cause some problems with video game, in my opinion. But I can't see it going any other way. Microsoft and Xbox is already trying to go that way, trying to do that.
Yep, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, digital games have become the norm. But we can't sit here and say like every game's gonna be on every platform. Like we already know that that's not a possibility. We're seeing Nintendo is trying it, and in my opinion, it's not working. Right?
No, they're gonna be service locked, is what they're gonna be.
Yeah,
like Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus.
Yeah, but I mean, like streaming, the hardware still kind of has to be there to support it, right? So like you got a console that runs on 1080, attempting to try to do 4K TV stuff. They're running 1080 on a 4K TV, and it's works for some things, but there's definitely a loss of resolution and quality when it comes to like bigger things. But anyways,
going back to our original thing, Sony just give Bloodborne to Bluepoint and let Bluepoint do a Demon's Souls remaster of Bloodborne, and I will buy it 3 times.
All right, you heard it here, guys. That's 3 sales right there.
I have 4 other friends that I know will also buy it like 3 times each.
Hey, Crow.
We're gonna buy a normal physical. We're gonna buy the collector's physical, and we're gonna buy a digital. Just sell it all.
Just let it happen. Speaking of games that flopped, let's talk about Hellblade 2.
Yeah, Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade 2. Or I think it was Hellblade 1, Senua's Sacrifice, the first one. The sequel to Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade 2. That game...
Hellblade 1 was fucking amazing. For those who haven't played it, you need to play it.
Harley got a game-breaking bug about an hour in.
To 2 or to 1?
1.
That sucks.
There was like, because like I believe I believe it was Hellblade. Sorry, it was they were streaming it, and like there was like some like arches that they had to go through, but you had to like go through them in a specific order, and you could like if you're looking through the arch, you could see like a different like it looked different, and there was a game-breaking bug where like it didn't work, and they were stuck, and they had to
No.
quit playing the game.
We were talking about Hellblade 1, not Hellblade 2. Thought there was a game-breaking bug in Hellblade 1. We're talking about Hellblade 2 because people are very unhappy. It had a full retail value for a 9-hour game.
Well,
where most people were beating it in 5.
Yep. So
hard quotes on 9-hour game.
I mean, like, 9-hour game is already like so small. I mean, they already said like their fans are people who like shorter content games, right? Which there is a gap in the market for that. 100% there is,
but not at full retail.
No, not a full retail. I can go pay to like movies are expensive as shit. I can go buy movie tickets for 2 separate movies.
Yes, people were clearing the game in 5 hours, including watching cutscenes.
It was not speed running. It was not like skippers. It was people who were actually like into the game, sat down, wanted to play the game, playing it all the way through, hard, fucking 5 hours done.
What do I think about the industries working on remasters or remakes? I think depending on the franchise, it's amazing. I mean, let's look at the ones that we've seen, right? Demon Souls remake, great. Final Fantasy VII remake, great. I think it's been very, very, very good, and I think companies are realizing they can tap into games that are beloved and make them significantly better and bring them to another front and let people buy them again, and they will, and they 100% will. They will relive those experiences through new graphical eyes and love it.
I mean, during the stream right now, I already said that like I bought every edition of all the Kingdom Hearts games that have ever released. Right, so I've already bought like re-releases, remasters 3 times, and they're even like really remasters. I mentioned, mentioned
from 1 to final remake, to Final Mix 1.5 is technically a remake.
Well, it's they made resolution better, and that's all they did.
Well, and they added features. No, there were a couple bosses, and they changed the way that gummy ships were, and.
No, Final Mix was an edition that released exclusively in Japan or in special markets, and released only a year after the original release.
Correct, but it was still a different game for the U.S. players.
But that was only a year after the original release. So the remakes that I'm talking about are it is off of the Final Mixes.
Sure. Yeah, okay.
Like the 1.5s, 2.5s, stuff like that. They're just remakes of the Final Mixes.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is just.
But yeah, like the companies where that they want it, that the teams want it. That's and I know we've talked about this. We want Final Fantasy VIII. Like people want Final Fantasy VIII, but it's not popular enough because during our time it was like you either really, really loved Final Fantasy VII or you really, really loved Final Fantasy VIII, and there were a larger population of people who loved 7 more than 8. But 8 was good. It was great. I'm still hearing that there is. This was another piece from the remake. If we're talking about remakes, the Final Fantasy X-2 rumor that was working on a remake that was an upscale remake, they are not doing that. They've come out and openly said it is not happening. We are not doing it. But they did not openly state that the 9 remake wasn't happening, and those rumors have been credible. They are looking at doing a 9 remake. I don't know if they're doing it to the same extent that they did 7, but 9, which is another beloved Final Fantasy, it looks like it is getting a remake.
9 would be interesting because of the design style of 9.
Right.
To like, are they going to make it? Are they going to keep that same like art design style, and then like, or are they going to redesign it as a more realistic general play?
Yeah, all things point that 9 is getting a remake.
Mm-hmm. I'd be surprised they haven't done 6, because like most people that I know who are like really big Final Fantasy fans say 6 is the best one.
I think the concept of making remakes off of already existing 3D games felt easier to them than making them off of 2D games.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying yes, I am also very surprised that they didn't do 8, since 8 arguably had one of the best soundtracks in the game and one of the strongest stories in the game, in the series.
8 is really controversial though.
It is super controversial.
I'm gonna tell you right now, this is the first conversation I've ever had or been near where people are talking positively about Final Fantasy 8.
I loved Final Fantasy 8. I thought it was great.
Like, I know people like Final Fantasy 8, but I've never been actually like in a room with someone who likes Final Fantasy 8.
Even if it was virtual. No, I think 8 was good. I think the system was good. I think it could really do well with a remake. That's just me.
I thought we already got an 8 remaster. It's called the Eden Raids.
Yo, okay. What up, Pedro? Yeah, no, you know what we need before any of those? And I'm gonna be totally honest. For everybody who loved Nier, we need Drakengard remakes right now.
Dude.
Now.
I've been trying to find ways to like get and like play Drakengard, and I can't find them.
Like, we need those yesterday.
Release them as Dragon Dragoon too, like the original name. Bring it back.
Yeah, for those who loved the Nier series, that's for those who don't know and have played the Nier series, the Drakengard series is definitely one that it's the prequel basically to the Nier series. One of the endings in the Drakengard series is one of the beginnings of Nier.
It's not the prequel. I mean, like what I think it's prequel. It's like it was released first. It's the original games.
Right. But what I'm saying is like the story basis for what Nier that was an ending in Drakengard.
So Drakengard 1 and 2 released, then the original Nier released, then 3 released, then Automata released. Which is just such a funky thing.
Yes, that's true. High quality graphics for games do sell. Thoughts on 10. So I'm going to go back to Ollie H. Thoughts on 10. So I loved 10. I thought 10 was really good. I thought that they did their like little remaster for 10 for the Switch and for the PlayStation, and I think like I said, I think that's all we're gonna get. I actually really like 10-2 as well. So like I'm one of the few people who really like 10, but also like 10-2. I'm not like I can understand that like when it comes to like Final Fantasy 13, like people who love 13 love the entire series for the most part. Like that's a pretty beloved like entire series, including all of its extensions. 10-2 was definitely one of the ones that's like you either were okay with it or you hated it, and I actually really liked
it. I couldn't, so I've never played it, and I just can't get over the shoulder massage scene. Except maybe FF11. Oh man, people who like FF11 are insane.
Or a different breed, for sure.
Yeah, no, they're K-pop fans. They're stans.
Now let's be fair. How many Final Fantasy 14 players, you can put your hand up, would play 11 if it was included in your 14 subscription? I would play 11 if it was included in my 14 subscription.
I don't think I would, just because I can't go back and play like older like MMOs. Like I tried with like WoW, and I just couldn't do it. Just like we get outdated graphics is one thing, but I can go back and I can play older games with like, or like games with like bad graphics. It's the janky movement that's usually my problem.
Yeah, I mean, outdated graphics is such an oddball thing to say, right? Because like what's one of the most successful game series in the world? Minecraft, and it has incredibly subpar graphics. What's a game that everybody extremely enjoyed very recently that just came out and is a very subpar graphics? Animal Well. Very, very, very subpar graphics, but it is I think it's more phenomenal art game.
Style, though. I think that's the big thing. So like WoW, I think that has PS1 graphics, and it's not really necessarily the art style. It's like it's I feel like I'm playing Spyro when I play WoW, but then like it also has like, I don't know, a lot of it. I tried when I tried to play WoW, I got into it, and so I haven't played Final Fantasy 11, so I'm just comparing it, like the two, because they're both older MMOs. So when I tried to play WoW, I got in and I was like, where the fuck do I go? What the fuck do I do? I don't understand anything that's going on.
And the
Like
answer to
more
that
so
question
than
is
any video
yes.
game. Yeah, and then I have like pretty crappy tooltips. I have pretty crappy like the movement is really jank. Everything like, so it's like it's just everything adds up to kind of that's my opinion on it.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yes. The answer to your question is yes.
Is not new player friendly. Yeah, I mean, like, so like is Final Fantasy 11 new player friendly? Okay.
Okay, no. Wait, hold on. So is WoW new player friendly? That's arguable, okay? So let's play apples and oranges, right? Final Fantasy 14. Don't get me wrong. I love 14, and Gibbles and I are on the same page for this. I'm gonna say it, and Gibbles is gonna shake his head correct. Any game that requires you to play well over 300 to 400 hours of game to be able to get to the end with your friends is too much. And that's where WoW does very well. You can get jumped from your level up to a really far level and very, very minimally miss almost nothing when in regards to the storyline and be able to do endgame content within maybe 2 weeks. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And that's where I would say yes and no for both games, right? Both games are new player, like both games are and aren't new player friendly. What Final Fantasy is not new game player friendly because you have to go through the storyline unless you want to pay for the skip, but it has a very strong how to play the game, a lot stronger than most other MMOs. How to play my role, how to do this, how to do that. It's very strong on that aspect. But getting to endgame to play with your friends takes forever. In WoW, it takes a couple weeks.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily know if I agree with that statement. One focuses on the content and one focuses on narrative.
They all have narrative. They just a matter of whether you care about the narrative.
I'd say WoW's story is so like Final Fantasy 14 is touted as like it really forces you to care about the story. While WoW is it's just the story's there, it's happening, and you play the game, and the story's happening on the side, right? 14 shoves you into the story. WoW, the story's happening on the side, and it partially has to do with the way they're trying to tell the story. Like in WoW, you're just a soldier, you're just part of it. The story's happening, and there's all these important people, and they're doing all these important things, and we get to see it, but we're not one of the important people. In 14, you're the chosen one. So it's kind of it's a storytelling. It's a choice on how they're choosing to tell the story.
Yeah, so I think it's different. Like I think each of them has their strengths and weaknesses. As much as I don't appreciate the Blizzard situation, I can sit and be empathetic to the fact that like each one has a position that they take that is beneficial to new players.
But I'm gonna say this: Final Fantasy 11 is not. I'm gonna take out the new. It's not player friendly. I'm sorry. I don't want to have to. Oh, in order for me to go do this content, I need to go kill 300 of these mobs on Tuesday, and only Tuesday, and then I have a 1% chance of getting an item. I have to get 8 of those items, and then next Tuesday I have to do it again, and then next Tuesday after that I have to do it again, and in 4 months I can finally do the content that I want to do. No, I will never play Final Fantasy 11.
I don't think I'll play Final Fantasy 11 for its endgame content. That's for sure.
It's like Eureka. No, Eureka's like F11.
Yeah. Anyways, it is definitely a headache for sure, and there are reasons why a lot of people don't like Eureka.
So talking about things people don't like. The original release of No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
And the new. This is our main topic for today.
So we'll briefly talk about it, and then we're gonna go back to it because it's gonna be a bigger thing. Because we generally leave it for the last little bit.
We can go. Well, how about instead we'll continue our thing. We'll go through. We'll skip that. We'll hit the No Man's Sky later, and we'll just say we'll go on the Elden Ring DLC story trailer dropped.
Yeah, dude.
This thing was fucking hype. It looks so good, so good, and it just left everyone with so many more questions.
Which is good from a lore perspective. You want people to be walking in with a million questions. It's always a good thing because they're going to be looking.
Yeah, especially Dark Souls lore.
Yeah, so I'll definitely be playing that on launch, probably on stream. So I'll probably be grouping up with Gibbles and Pedro, and Enrique to probably run through most of that. So
hell yeah, I'm so excited for the new holy spells.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be
fun. For new things,
I feel like from every week that we do this podcast, we have to talk about sad stuff like more layoffs, more layoffs. So Alone in the Dark did a reboot not that long ago. Their numbers were not great. So they've ended their fiscal year in March of 2024. March 31st, and they said that Alone in the Dark and Outcast New Beginnings, they had less than stellar performances, and due to less than stellar performances, they are going to be laying off a number of people. So it's not a great sign in the industry of gaming, but I think this shows, I can't remember when those games released and what they released against. In regards to like other games that came out, but IGN's review of Alone in the Dark was reviewed at a 6.10, and its major critiques were that it was left without memorable moments, and it failed to escape the shadows of other contemporary survivor horror titans that had helped create it. So it's just didn't quite look. It looks like they're laying off thousands of their staff. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that group.
Yeah, I watched a YouTube video earlier today about if gaming is going into, if the gaming bubble is popping, if it's going into a crash, which I mean I think it's probably true of even like this like smaller developer too. I'm probably sure that like they probably overstaff themselves based on like COVID numbers and stuff like that and expectations, and are also like crashing from it.
Yeah, my hope from this, right, is that with such success from from significantly smaller developers, that we might see some smaller development teams pop up and create some great like single A titles or double A titles that you wouldn't expect. So I think like where we're seeing some of these like really smash, like we talked about this in the past, where some of the games that aren't getting massive budgets are still doing significantly better than those that do, or like continuing to do well, like your Stardew Valleys and whatnot. I would love to see like some of these developers that are being laid off go and do their own thing and not try to get back into big development. I know it's a lot to ask because it generally causes them to have to work a job on as well as trying to work on some kind of private development thing that they're working on. But I think in the long run, it might benefit them and the end game users that might play it. I mean, look at the Stardew Valley is a great clear example. He's doing Chocolatier, the Chocolatier game, but he's still doing very well and can run the company on his own. He took it back and did it on his own. So I mean, I'd love to see stuff like that where smaller teams, maybe 10 or less, are building these fantastic games. I think the Animal Well team was pretty small. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know.
I think it was like 20 something people, and then they had a bunch of testers that ended up running through it. But I mean, like, we're seeing games like this with extremely small development teams doing extremely well, and I think we should let that continue to be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing. So you're saying like it's a big ask, right? For like if some of these developers that are getting laid off to go make their own stuff, and they'd have to like work another job, get money, and also do something on the side, the people who really make really good games and really succeed are those people, because it's the passion. And I know if you look at a lot of other industries, right, the people who you like can't compete against because they just always keep on improving are the people who just don't care about the money and only care about like the passion of it and just like want to make the thing.
Right.
And I definitely think that a couple of these developers are probably going to be those types of people, and they're going to come out and swinging with some games in the next like 2 years or so.
I mean, let's take a game, and this is gonna be a really off the wall game to talk about, but like a game that the developer did not even anticipate would be even remotely as successful as it was Flappy Birds. That guy was making literally millions of dollars a day for that game, and it got so much that he took it down because he couldn't handle all the money that was coming in through he literally just took it down. So it's like it's very interesting, when you have a passion to do something great, even if it's something that seems basic or simple, and it comes out great and people really enjoy it. I think we're reversing in time. I kind of made a mention of this a little bit earlier of like we talk about quote unquote outdated graphics, but a lot of great games are like feeling really polished while still looking like old SNES games or old PlayStation 1 games, but they're still looking like ultimately great, right? I mean,
like, that's what I was saying earlier. It's art style versus graphics, right?
Right.
You can have old graphics, outdated graphics, and that's your pixelated square shaped Hagrid. That's a meme from the PS1 Harry Potter game. But then you can have an art style that's 6-bit, 16, or I say 6-bit, 16-bit, 64-bit, whatever, kind of art style, and you get and it still looks great because the graphics are more recent. That and the monitors that we play old games on actually make the older games look worse because they're designed to be played on CRTs and take advantage of the way CRTs work. So that's one thing to think about.
Yeah.
High quality 3D Cloud from FF7 Remake. What about it?
But you got that. I mean, you got that game brought a 4K version of Cloud.
Yeah.
The problem with that comparison, right, is like that image went through so many iterations if you think about where it landed from a perspective of games, right? So you have Final Fantasy VII, right, where he was 2D or 3D-ish, right? And you could see like kind of a 3D concept of him in battle, but he looked like pixelated 3D when he was in the overworld or running around town.
Mm-hmm.
And then you jump to like PlayStation, you jump to Kingdom Hearts PS2, where they fleshed him out as a 3D character.
Yeah.
And then you jump to Crisis Core for the PSP, where again, he is a higher quality 3D character. And then you see him in Kingdom Hearts 2, where again, he's even more high quality of a 3D character. And then you go to Remake, where like you get a logical transition of that, right? Versus like going from a pixelated to a 4K. There was concept to him going forward, upwards, towards the direction that he ended up being in Remake and Rebirth.
It's still art style to graphics. Right. Like it's art style updating versus graphic updating. I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's the difference between what Kingdom Hearts was back in PS2 era with its resolution graphics versus what he looked like he looked stunning in Kingdom Hearts 3. Take away the fact that the story was shit, but like Sora looked significantly well while still keeping that art caricature that they were looking for him, with improved graphics and improved design.
I feel like, Alex, that might have been a thing that might have gone forward if Strangers in Paradise had sold really, really well.
Yeah.
I think Strangers in Paradise did okay, but I don't think it did well enough for them to actually really want to go forward with that.
Yeah, and then you
3D,
had
I think
things
so.
like
Yeah.
World of Final Fantasy that played off of the good-looking graphics versus the poor-looking graphics. Like that was its whole MO from a story base.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about Final Fantasy and graphical updates.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 14. We had the new letter from the producer live, 81. They did show some graphical updates, and that's what I use as my segue. I skipped over that.
Yeah. We know it's gonna look good. It's fine.
I was like, it's gonna look better. Yeah, you're showing more characters. Cool. Show me ability. Ah, there it is. Yoshi P playing Viper.
I want to see job actions. Let's
the
go.
job action trailer. Yes. So they released a bunch of the new they one released a new job action trailer. A lot of the skills look really, really cool. They also released they sat down and they talked about each individual class and role and different changes that are going to be coming out, which is also really, really big. I'm trying to find if I no, that's not what I wanted. Okay, whatever. I have Flower Producer live up. I can just scroll backwards and find the things I'm looking for. Okay, so we have one, we got to see Viper play. And so I was kind of thinking it was gonna play kind of like did you watch this at all? Like did you actually see Yoshi P play?
I watched the
Viper
Warrior
Midget
stuff.
Mincer?
It all looked really good. I didn't get a chance to really dive into it.
Okay.
I've been crazy busy. Kids have finished school this week and
Yeah.
and soccer and everything else, so it's been mad busy. Which
So
we'll talk about
the
at the end of
way-
the stream, but yeah.
So the way I looked at it, the way I saw Viper from the original like trailers we were seeing for it, I was thinking kind of like a red mage mixed with Reaper is what I was saying, because it has like a form transformation. It is more like Dragoon, I think, and Reaper, not like Red Mage. It has two different combos that it goes back and forth between, and it has a gauge, and when the gauge fills up, you do transform, and that transforms the combos. So it is like kind of a really fast combo of Reaper and Dragoon, in my opinion. So you have your they were calling them dual blade and they're calling it double blade, dual blade and double blade, which is like they got to figure out something else. So dual blade is where it's a sword in each hand. Double blade is when it's a twin sword combined.
Okay.
So each one of the combos is that, and you can actively switch between them, and then you can empower the blade, and that's your like enshrouded version. One cool thing about it is that it has it has a similar number of actions in total, but it has evolving skills. So when you activate so like Confader, right? How like it evolves into the next skill, into the next skill, into the next skill, right? A lot of their skills do that.
Okay.
So it has a really condensed hotbar in comparison to the other jobs. Which some people are really happy about. I don't know, how do you feel about that kind of thing? Like the evolving skills?
I like the evolving skills, right? Because it's like it helps with picking up your rotations, because it's not a massive change to what the rotation feel is. It just adds like extra features, so it doesn't really hurt the player overall. I think it's definitely a huge help and a boon overall. But it's I think it's a positive thing in my opinion.
But like in game, do you feel like there's a problem of like accidentally spamming and hitting the second ability too soon? Like do you ever have that problem or anything like that?
No, I don't personally. I think it's I think it's a benefit I don't know. I just overall think it's going to be a benefit. It's going to help kind of streamline things a bit. I think Xenos has talked about this a bit of wanting to do things this way, where like they're kind of evolving.
Well, the reason why I kind of led you on right there, they're actually adding an option to all evolving skills in that way to split them apart.
Yeah.
Or keep them together, which I think is the best way you could do it. And I think it's great.
Yeah, so, you're flexible to allow people to kind of do whatever.
So you can completely split up your continuation. You can completely split up your confader into all of its skills across your hotbar, or you can keep them all condensed, which is great, in my opinion.
Right.
I wish they would allow there'd be a button to condense your 1, 2, 3 as well. Don't know if there is. They haven't confirmed that or not.
Right.
Let's see. But yeah, so Viper looks really fast. It looks really fun. We also got some Pictomancer showcase, which is also really cool. Did you watch that all? Do you have any questions on like what Pictomancer is capable of or anything?
No. I'm sure I'll relook at things before things hit up. I try not to spend too much time too early trying not to do things because it'll leave my brain when it happens, and I also kind of want to see it in my hand, right? It kind of, you know, like seeing it when they're showing it off in its perfect sense is like different to me than just seeing it when I'm actually able to touch the buttons. My expectation is that I'm taking the week of launch off, and my hope is to get as many characters through the story as I can so I can start maxing my main and working on crafters. But like overall, I think it'll be, I'm interested in and kind of excited as to what it's going to bring to the table from that perspective. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be really good.
Yeah. So they didn't show any of the buffs that it did. They just showed like its actual rotation, like its main combo, and it actually seems pretty mobile. It has a whole, so like when you saw it, like it having like the hammer that would come out, and it has like you saw it had like the 3 little like sections where it had like an animal shape mallet, like a hammer with a fire thing in the back, and then it had like a mountain. So you'll always, from what I can tell with HP, you'll always draw the mountain, and you'll always draw. Yeah, I was thinking draw like card, but yeah, draw the mountain, and you'll always draw the hammer. But the animal shape will like rotate, and you'll summon a Moogle, and then you'll summon like an evolved Moogle as you get all of the pieces for the creature. The hammer is your movability. It's a 3-button combo, so I think it is an evolving skill as well. You hit 1, 2, 3 on it, and it's instacast, and it's really it looks really good and really strong, really powerful too. The mountain was a buff. It creates a huge like field area that buffs any people inside of it. So like think like Sacred Soil, but like a damage buff. The button condensing, because apparently it's more of an option to uncondense abilities into more buttons and not.
Yeah.
That's
what you're talking about. But it would be like the 1, 2, 3 aspect to Warrior would be condensed into a single button, or not, right? I mean, that's sort of the mentality.
I was saying I hope that we have the ability to condense the 1, 2, 3s, but it's like it's abilities that are already condensed, like Continuation or Confader. And there's an option to uncondense them and separate them into their separate skills, like on Summoner. Although I don't know why you would do it on Summoner, really.
Right.
But I mean, I don't really feel like it doesn't need to do it on any of them. But yeah, the Pictomancer does look really strong. Let's go. I'm gonna go over, just peek a couple of the like role changes too. Because we did get a couple really cool changes peeked at. So like it was tanks are getting all of Rampart's getting upgraded at level 90. 91 now or something. No, I think it's like just 90. It's going to get updated. So the instant you log into the game when Dawntrail comes out, it's going to be updated. I think is what they said.
Okay. Have they said anything about the release of Beastmaster with release, or is it coming out later?
As far as I know, what does Summoner have to split? In Kindle, and like it's different. The summon abilities, the summon specific abilities. Like my chair is like singing. That's what I was saying. I was like, maybe you'd want to split those, but I don't think you would. But that yeah, as far as I know, they have not mentioned Beastmaster in any of the PLLs so far.
Hmm.
Besides the fact that it's a thing. We do have another Let Us Producer live before release, and we have the media tour and the what's the fucking word I'm thinking of? Embargo lifting, like
Yeah. For
pretty soon
those that
after
are
that.
testing.
Yeah. So we'll be getting a lot of info at that point.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
One of the big things I'm excited for tanks, all tanks, is the 30% damage reduction ability will be upgraded in the 90s level range to like specific to have specific buffs. And I kind of wanted to go over this real quick. So I don't know if Warrior is gonna get a change, or like maybe it will, because Vengeance already has a second ability on it. It already does Thorns damage, or does it? Does it still? Did they take that off? I think it still
They
does.
did take that off. I don't think it
Oh.
does.
Okay. What do you think? I think either Paladin or so. I think Gunbreaker is going to get a shield attached to it, an overshield attached to it. Paladin's going to get a regen, and I think Dark Knight is going to get damage dealt to him. It regenerates MP, and I think Warrior is going to get like the Thorns damage back. What do you think?
And it's hard to tell, right? I mean, like, we know that the buffs are getting heavier, which is good. My wonder is the damage from higher end content going to get higher?
Oh, 100%.
And as well as, is this a preemptive for people to start doing more soloing in older content with that fact that they're that high? It's really hard to every year that we get every time we get a new X Pack, I always sit here and I'm like, man, like, what could they possibly do to these classes to do anything different, right? Because it's like some of them feel so good. I don't think they will. They've pretty much stated that they did enough of a level squish that should last them really far off in the distance. And I think the flip here is they were complaining about computing power when it came to the squish. I think that they are going to just up the computing power and move to cloud. If I'm being totally honest, it's at this point when they go through their next round of updates, which will be in like 2 or 3 years, they're just going to flip to cloud. They're going to get everything ready and going to flip to cloud. They showed a very positive showing when it came to cloud. Bringing a cloud offering brings access to more players. We've had this conversation before, so I won't rehash most of it, but like it's the cloud is the way of the future for them at this point. And if you're not digging into a cloud environment, then I think it's a disservice to your customers.
I'm sorry, Summoner felt underwhelming. You don't like Solar Bahamut? What?
Yeah, you don't like Solar Bahamut? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, well then I'll take Solar Bahamut. Every time I swing my axe, Solar Bahamut can show up. You don't need Solar Bahamut if it's so underwhelming.
Never activate Solar Bahamut. You don't deserve him.
Yay, another Bahamut. What do you mean, yay, another Bahamut? It's Solar Bahamut. Sir, there's only so many summons that you can bring into the game before it breaks it, okay?
I mean, they could just use any of the other summons in the entire game. How many primals have we killed?
I like that the 2 people who are maining Summoner for endgame content are the ones complaining about Summoner.
I know people are really excited for the new Gunbreaker ability, that the nuke its other continuation that's getting. Because it's Lionheart, which was an FF8.
I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you don't, Aaron.
It was an FF8 limit break. A lot of people are like super hyped for that.
Yeah,
but
that'll be good.
But yeah, though you want a secondary rotation. You want Summoner to be even longer. You want to go.
He wants more Lego bricks. That's what he wants. He wants to stack more Lego bricks.
He wants to go back where like the summoner he wants the summoner rotation to be 17 minutes long.
No.
He wants to go through an entire dungeon and not finish his
I want
his
two
rotation.
different rotations of bursts. That's what I want. A 4-minute rotation, please.
But so
They'll still be the same buttons.
100%. Like Yoshi P even said, like the damage is going to be like the enemy damage is going to be noted, like based on the changes.
Yeah.
We're getting time extensions on the on feint, on addle, on reprisal. We're getting percentage increase on the fizz range
Just want to have all the
defense
summons
buff,
out at once,
which is huge. When I'll have all, it's funny. So and then I think that they said that they're introducing like a buff to the 30% damage reduction. They didn't say they were gonna up the 30% damage reduction to like a 50%. They just said they're granting it a secondary effect. Like they're making them unique. So I think a secondary effect added to them is more so what it's gonna be. Things hit harder. Oh, 100%. They are planning.
Everything
they are
hits harder
planning.
all the
Yeah,
time.
it's going to hit harder. 100%. At least for like in-game content, because like dungeons, they don't expect people to be fainting using troop. I mean, maybe they expect them to be using troubadour, but not all the time. Addle, reprisal. They don't expect the players to be using those. Those are like raid user like tools. Most players don't touch them. And that's where a lot of MIT is being added in from outside. But I mean, like, you're going to have to, at some point, grant, like, the tanks, like, some extra fun for defense, right? Which they did do last expansion. I think it was last expansion. We got Heart of Corundum instead of Heart of Stone, and Corundum's great. I love Corundum. Right? I mean, Bloodwedding is just better than, what was it called before? That was already a reuse of the old skill.
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Raw Intuition.
Yeah, because Raw Intuition used to be you can't get crit in the front, but you had automatic crits from behind you. And then they scrapped that skill. And that skill was introduced in Heavensward. And they scrapped that skill and then reintroduced it. And then they upgraded it to Bloodwedding. Makes Sleep Slasher
broken.
Pose useful. I don't think they could realistically make Sleep useful. I mean, in a specific raid, 100%, I could see them making Sleep useful in a raid. Where like a mechanic actually requires like the healer to sleep. I could see that being a thing. But I don't see them making it like useful in like dungeons or everyday use.
Yeah.
But they said, so when we're talking about the, like, going back, the 30% skills being unique, they said that going through 7.0 into 8.0, they want to make the tanks feel more unique and stand apart from each other, which is a problem people have been feeling, right? Like, all of the tanks combat rotations all feel very unique, right? Their defenses are all the exact same. They all have a 30%. They all have either a block everything or parry everything. They have a I mean, like, Dark Knight needs, like, the flavor on Dark Knight is it reduces magic damage, which is not a flavor on nerf. But they've been talking about giving more, and I think they said specifically on Dark Knight they were going to talk about doing it into 8.0. Which is really interesting. Let me see. I mean, I'm excited for the healer changes. Working for melee. Second wind healing potency will be increased. And the feint duration is increased. So yeah, 100%. They're adding more abilities for damage reduction and healing across the board. So 100% damage is going up. They're not getting rid of positionals. 100%. I know
sleep is still useful. I don't know why you're complaining. If you're trying to run away, you put them to sleep and you run away. Like that's its purpose. It's not meant to be put them to sleep and then punch them to death. That's not how sleep works. Sleep has always been one of those things. You put them to sleep and then if you punch them, they wake up.
No, but he wants like a callback to like Brayflock's Long Stop, where like that's a mini boss came into the boss fight and you slept them to make the fight better, right?
Yeah.
But now even nowadays people don't even do that.
People don't even have sleep on their bar. Let's be fair. Like,
yeah, he wants to be.
if you're in endgame content and you have sleep on your bar, you should probably stop doing endgame content. If I'm being honest, and I'm not normally that toxic, but like, it should not be in a spot where it should be very easily touched because it's not going to be useful.
I have sleep and I have physic on my bar, but they're clicks, they're not
physical buttons, right?
Yeah. But
no,
yeah,
it doesn't need to be useful. It's useful when you're soloing and you want to run away.
It's useful in Palace of the Dead. Just go do Palace. People were talking about they were wanting to they were going to be removing positionals, and there was like hints towards that, but 100% they're not going to be, based on the change that they listed for Dragoon to reduce positional requirements for the single target combo. The 5th combo action has been changed to a new non-directional action, Drake's Bane. Drake's Wheeling Thrust and Claw and Fang Claw have now been combined into Drake's Bane. So the 5th action so the final action in all of the Dragoon combos is now just Drake's Bane. It's not the opposite two, and there's no positional for it. Right. So they're not getting rid of they're not getting rid of positionals, which is for some people Sag.
Big Sag.
They're also changing everyone's they're changing pretty much every class who has like a refill their gauge by 50. They're changing that so that it's just like a free use of that skill. So like how the warrior skill, the one that lets you just do 3 free Fel Cleaves. They're changing manification on Red Mage gives 50 gauge white and black mana. They removed that. Now it just allows you to do your melee combo for free. The ability that would give you 50 gauge on Reaper, they removed the 50 gauge gain and it just lets you do Enshroud for free. Paladin Covery Work, yeah, they didn't mention that. But they're trying to remove, because the problem is that if your gauge is at 51 or higher, if you hit that button, it was just a waste. So now it's not a waste anymore, which is I think a really cool quality of life that they added there. Let's see. Yeah, everything else is just kind of all the same stuff. We got new AoEs a little bit, additional skills on each class. I'm hyped for the fucking healer changes. Astro change looks it's a callback more towards the Heavensward Astro, which is like I'm so happy for. A White Mage Gap Closer is nice. It doesn't hold a candle to the Astro changes. I know you don't touch. I know you just play Warriors, so you're just like, oh, these are
doing the Warrior. Yeah, White Mage Gap Closer. I heard about that. Scholars finding an identity. It always had an identity. It was just a subpar healer for a little bit.
I'm excited for the party-wide Cardia.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Like, could I have had that during fucking HH, please?
No.
Come on. It would have been so nice, especially because of the way they worded it. It's a new party buff which heals nearby party members whenever the caster casts a spell. Just a spell, not a damage spell, because that's how Cardia works. It's only when you do damage. This new one is party-wide for any spell you cast. So if I need to heal a shit ton, I mean, so it works like White Mage has a skill that works that way, I think. I can't Plenary Indulgence.
Yeah, but then White Mage also has Lily Bell, which is like you set it down and every time they get hit, everybody gets healed. So it's like
that's like Panheima.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like the new Sage ability is like Plenary Indulgence, but it's any spell. So if I want to heal the whole party, but the tank is taking more damage, I can pop that. I only focus heal the tank, and everyone else is still getting healed,
True.
which I think is really cool.
Why
Is
would it
losing
lose
Earthly
Earthly
Star?
Star? It was not
They
gonna lose
didn't.
it.
Well, they didn't showcase it at all.
Yeah, because they weren't really sure. I mean, Earthly Stars is one of those things that you just put up, right? It's not like something
Yeah.
that like the last time they showed up Earthly Star was only because they were changing the size of it.
Yeah.
Like,
So they're removing Astrodyne. So there's one thing I'm worried about with Astro, is that they've removed they've removed Astro. As far as I know, they've removed Astro's MP region, which was like what made Astro really really strong, was that it
Right.
never had to worry about MP. Besides other factors like Macrocosmos that made Astro really strong, but Astrodyne was like its main like way to it never cared about MP because of it. So that is, I'm wondering how they're gonna uh, uh, add some kind of MP region to Astro. But I'm excited. I'm definitely really excited for the way they're changing the cards back. It's not back. It is a new way to run the cards, but it's definitely more in line with Heavensward cards.
yeah, that makes sense.
They will all do something different now instead of all just doing damage buff. There is
Yep.
healing cards, there is defense cards, there's attack cards.
Can we talk about the fact that countdown timers are going to be significantly lower, unless you have a dancer?
Oh wait, what?
Did you not see with Astro you could do a
sleeve drop.
full dark
Yeah.
full deck pull?
So yeah, that is so the way Astro's rotation is now is you draw 4 cards at once and it sits on a 1 minute cooldown. So it falls into the 2 minute rotation.
Right.
And
But it means that we're not going to have to wait 20 something seconds for Astro to get their shit together.
And the Astro cards are not random anymore. You will draw one set of so Astro has 8 cards if you include the Minor Arcana. You will always draw one set of 4 the first time, and you'll draw the other set of 4 the second time.
I doubt it.
Which I am all for.
I doubt that that'll be a requirement.
Am I not reading something?
Sleeve draw might be required to be required being in combat. I doubt that it will, and I'll tell you why. Your 2 minute burst always starts at the start of the fight, and what's their big damage buff? Divinity or whatever. Not
I will
Divinity.
tell you why I think it will be
Horoscope, right?
required.
Isn't that the big one?
I will tell you why I think it is required. Divination, yeah.
Or Divination, that's the one.
Yeah. It's going to be required because it's going to be similar to Scholar's Aether Flow.
I disagree because Divination required you to have all 3 pages or all 3 buffs up or in 3 draws in order for it to have the largest effect.
No, that's Astrodyne. That's the skill they're removing. And that was a self buff. And Divination is an AoE buff to the party. You're mixing up skills. And neither and so they're removing Astrodyne completely. Astro signs don't exist anymore. And you also couldn't gain Astro signs unless you were in combat in the first place. So
no,
if you,
I'm not wrong on this. The effect of the just let me finish. The effect of the attack is changed based upon how many seals of Arcana are active, which comes from drawing your cards.
Yes. No, it comes from using your cards. You're arguing with a healer.
Sure.
Okay. So the way the cards work, you can draw your cards infinitely out of combat. It still sits on a 30-second cooldown. Using the card will gain you an Astro sign based on the card you used. That Astro sign is only gained in combat. Which means if I use a card on you out of combat, I don't gain an Astro sign, and it doesn't advance my Astrodyne. And Astrodyne is the grant you never cared about. You never if you play Astro, never try to get 3 Astro signs. You won't get it. You will just screw yourself. You'll waste time. Don't do it. Get 2 Astro signs. Use it that way, because the second Astro sign gets you your MP region, and that's all you care about. Like Alex, I mean, you know, I'm saying the truth right here. Divination.
No, I guess I got it confused because I remember them being very clean on like needing to have all 3 at the very beginning.
Yeah, because it's buffs to you. It's not buffs to my Astrodyne.
Right. But that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about divination.
So well, the problem is that the card is a stackable ability. So you hold the ability to activate the card twice. You can only hold 1 card at a time. So you want to draw 1 and have 2 stacks of card draw available to you. Once the fight starts, you spend 1, draw another one, spend a second one, draw another one, spend a third one. All of that has to be done in combat. But the first draw needs to be done 30 seconds before combat. You can't draw 3 cards at the same time. But also, it doesn't matter because Astrodyne is going away. That skill, specifically that we're arguing about, is going away.
Right. I was talking about divination, but yeah.
Divination, well, the skill you were talking about, the one that like you need the 3 signs for, everything like that, that's Astrodyne.
No, the Arcane Seals is under divination, not under Astrodyne.
Divination is an AoE buff to the party.
It's a damage increase buff to the party based upon the number of seals you hold.
Let me read this. Astro skills FFXAV.
Just search divination Final Fantasy 14.
I can just do the job guide. Divination right here. Increases damage dealt by self and nearby party members by 6%. Duration 15 seconds. That's the only thing in the skill.
Oh, that's the history patch. Never mind. I was looking at it wrong. Sorry. If you go down to the history patch, it talks about the 456 or 246 based upon seals.
Yeah.
Before Astrodyne. Okay, yeah, got it. I'm following now. That's my bad.
Yeah.
I'm looking at old notes.
But so if you compare Astro to Scholar, Scholar has, you have to be in combat in order to activate in order to get Aetherflow stacks. So I believe that Sleeve Draw will have to be done in combat as well.
I wonder if they're just getting rid of Astrodyne in order to put Divination back where it was.
No, because they're getting rid of the randomization of the cards. They're making your cards your 2-minute rotation.
Okay.
For your for Astro. And they're getting rid of Astrodyne because Astrodyne is based on the Astro signs that were based on the random cards that you drew. They're getting rid of the randomization of the cards you draw, and they're getting rid of they're getting rid of the Astro signs as well. So they're just getting rid of Astrodyne because the mechanics of it don't make sense with the current cards.
Hello.
The effects of Astrodyne will probably be folded into Sleeve Draw, is what I'm thinking. And the main effect of Astrodyne that Astros care about is the MP region.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I feel like MP region's been better on other healers, and it's been lacking on Astro.
Sleeve Draw, so back in Stormblood, Alex, this was back when Astro also had the ability to amplify their cards, and they could store a card. So Sleeve Draw would do all of that. They would allow you to amplify a card, they would draw a card, and it would store a card as like a secondary card that you could play. That's how Sleeve Draw used to work in Stormblood.
But nice.
Okay, yeah. I mean, so I played a lot of Astro in Stormblood. And Ray, I did a lot of extremes. What about that Seal of the 12 skill in the trailer? I think that's just an extra buff, an extra skill, an extra thing. I don't think it has to do with the cards. Watch the actual so this live letter has a translator on hand. Go watch it. I mean, like, you can listen to it while you're at work or something like that. It is long. You can skip like good 20-minute sections of it because they go on break a couple times. During the Astro bit, Yoshi P specifically says the cards they're removing the randomization of it. And the cards are going to be 2 separate sets of cards that you draw. So one set of 4 and the other set of 4. and it sits on a 60-second cooldown. So it's your 2 minute window for Astro, your 2 minute rotation. So 1 minute. So the first time you draw the first set of card. 1 minute in, you draw the second set, and then your 2 minute window for the burst at the 2 minutes is the first set again, and then it rotates all the way through. One of the cards is a damage buff. One of the cards is a defense buff. One of the cards is a support buff, and then you have and then you still have the minor arcana as well that are there. that's how Astro cards are gonna work.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited for, because I liked the old cards where you could know what that card did and then use it for other things than just, I give damage to this player. I give damage to this player. And I hate Astro Signs because it's like I didn't want to, like, just because I do this card, I have to play it. Even though it doesn't give me the exact Astro Sign I want to buff myself.
Yeah, makes sense. Cool.
Yes, Alex. Yeah, they're getting rid of the randomness. Yeah, which I think is great. Personally,
because no other class for healer especially has that much randomness.
Yeah, some people are going to be upset about it, I think.
It's taking away from the skill of the game.
Hey, I think it's making
Astro too easy.
Yeah.
Any other big things from the live letter you want to talk about?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, the main thing is that we get the skill condensation option, right? To separate the skills.
Yep.
I think that's one of the biggest ones. And then also every rolls.
Why does it sound like Morty?
Oh jeez, Rick. Oh jeez, Rick. No caster info. There's caster info, but it's the same thing as everyone else.
Yeah, that's my.
So Red Mage's AOE is
sucks,
the cost of their AOE combos getting reduced. I went over that, like, all of the gauges. They're like the 50 increase skills are all getting changed to be just lets you do the rotation. We're not trying to go like super in deep into each class is the big thing, and there's no real major change to casters that isn't true for any other classes. Where, like,
I'm sure, and here's the thing, right? Like, I feel like we didn't see any major changes with melee, like big changes other than maybe the Dragoon change. That's fine. They can freak out. They always do. But you know what? Honestly, like, if any class has no reason to fret, it's Black Mage. Like, seriously, every year they are scared that something big's gonna happen, and then it never happens because they fix it. But here's my stance, right? And this should be the stance of everybody. The classes that are getting new jobs, or the jobs that are getting new job sets, are always going to be manipulated later on down the line because of balancing issues with the brand new classes that are coming in. They have to balance them in. They don't have the big, like, you know, huge use case in Viper, or huge use case in Pictomancer, that they can balance these well and effectively. I think they've done a really good job of trying to learn to balance well, but you always have a situation where you're going to go through. I think we're going to see a lot of quarter patches, I want to call them. I don't want to call them half patches. I want to call them hot fixes for damage in the first couple months right before raid. I think that's going to be huge.
You gotta read Alex's last message. I remember Yoshi P said like 2 sentences on this, by the way. He said, we're updating MP region because we finally figured out, we think, how to fine tune it better, because we had some weird ideas about it, and so we've been constantly trying to go back and forth on how we should implement it. I think all they're doing is fine tuning it. I don't think it's going to be really hurting Black. Why are Black Mages worrying about? I mean, like, yeah, if you want to play absolutely perfect, you need to know how to manage your MP region, because you got to get that second flare in or whatever.
You self-regen with Blizzard, so it's like, not like it really matters.
Well, because the problem is that if you're a real Black Mage player, you figure out how to get those extra fire attacks in. You figure out how to get that, like, triple flare, triple like extra super extra hits in to make every ounce of your MP work. And it really matters.
Guys.
But
Imagine
like
not
for
clicking your
casual
buttons
play,
in the right order.
no, it's Black Mage is a little bit different. Non-standard won't work with the changes. Yeah. I don't know. Black Mage has always, if you're a Black Mage main, you know what we're talking about. You have to play, and it's not even like hit it in the right order. You have to like react to how much MP you have left at the end of your combo, and stuff like that.
Yeah, but theoretically, it should always be the same, right?
No.
How is it not always? I mean, I guess with the procs, it wouldn't be the same.
Well,
yeah.
it depends on the procs you have. It depends on the timing, and especially if you have to move and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, of course they are. I mean, like, especially for endgame rating, because you can move. High spell speed can move.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, honestly, you know, it's like the Black Mages are sitting with $2 million in their bank account. They're worried about going bankrupt. Let's be fair. It's ridiculous.
It's just people who really care about like perfecting their combo that are worried. And Paradox is going to be instant on both. I haven't played.
You haven't played
Black
a Black Mage either to make that opinion, but
my
like
Black Mage is 83.
Black Mage has always been very high
85.
damage and very well off. Every expansion they do just fine because they're the only class that doesn't have they're the only caster that doesn't have a res.
Well, they're always going to be tuned to be playable well because it's Yoshi P's class.
It's just your class. Yeah, nobody's gonna make the boss man suffer. That's not how that works. Do you like getting paid? Do you like eating food on your table? Then you're going to make Black Mage feel good every time.
It's just the lead producer is the one, like he goes, he's gonna play the class. If it sucks, he's gonna be like, hey, dude, this class sucks. Yeah. So it's the class that's gonna be found out if it sucks the fastest.
So speaking of games that didn't get a really great start and had to be rebuilt and are rebuilding their trust with players, Final Fantasy XIV, No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk. These are all games that come to mind that had terrible launches, crippling launches, promises made, promises broken. But they've revamped, they've rebuilt, they've come back, right? So we see this with Final Fantasy. Obviously, they obliterated 1.0, used that obliteration to build 2.0 and beyond, and now we have one of the best MMOs of all time. No Man's Sky, for those who were burnt and never went back, that game is now flourishing. They've got VR, they've got all kinds of stuff, and it's doing very, very well. Why do we bring this up? Because the company that did No Man's Sky is developing a new game. And the question is, does the burn from No Man's Sky feed into skepticism of how well their new fantasy-based single world game will do? Yeah, and Cataclysm, yeah, obliteration.
Yeah.
WoW obliteration is different because WoW obliteration didn't take down the game for a complete redevelopment.
Yeah. No. So yeah, Blackmore. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Right.
Like games that. So there is a developer that is well known for releasing an absolute stinker, and that's the only game they're known for. They're releasing another game. So this is actual like discussion.
Okay, topic. So to be fair, that's your opinion. For a lot of players, No Man's Sky has rebounded and become a much better game.
Well, no. Here's the thing. No, they released an absolute stinker.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
Right.
Did they go back and fix it? That is, as far as I know, also a fact. I haven't gone back and done it. I
think my favorite part about No Man's Sky release was, oh, the world's so big, you'll never find another player in this world. Oh, my word! Mama Squirrel, welcome in! I'm sorry, we got a raid. Mama Squirrel, welcome in! What was Mama Squirrel doing today? That's the big question. She brought the treehouse to invade our channel. Oh no! We're getting to the good part. Farm Together 2. That's what they were playing before. So I have to ask, Mama Squirrel, I'm going to guess that given that you went back on, that you didn't have any issues with... It's overwhelming. You didn't have any issues with copyright infringement. They had an issue where they were splitting their audio so that they could avoid copyright.
Oh,
That's good. Good. Because they want to be able to play music, you know? Everybody wants to play music.
yeah. Just don't let the music skip to the VOD.
So, welcome in, Raiders. My name is Cool Monster Gaming. You are joined today by the great Gibbles Destruct. We are hosting today's Beards of Light podcast, which is a video game podcast we do every other Monday. As it is Memorial Day, it falls on the day that we do our podcast, so we are doing the podcast today. We are on the topic of stinker games that get redemption arcs and do significantly better. So for those who are following, we're talking about games like No Man's Sky. We're talking about games like Cyberpunk. We're talking about games like Final Fantasy XIV, a very beloved game for the two of us. So we're really talking in on a lot of like the outages and stuff like that we've seen with those games. So like 14... One was an absolute bomb. They took it down. They killed it. They did it in a very graceful way. They nuked every player in the game and destroyed the world in order to be able to rebuild it up, which was fantastic. No Man's Sky built a world of promises based upon their AI generation of worlds and life. They promised a bunch of stuff that didn't exist. Now those things exist in tenfold, and they are significantly better. We're talking about this because the developer of No Man's Sky is releasing a new single world fantasy world open world game, and we are wondering if that reputation will come into their success with this new game. Will people hold off on buying that game at launch because of how poorly No Man's Sky bombed, or because of what they've done with No Man's Sky, have they redeemed themselves enough to be able to gain somebody's at launch purchase? So yeah, that's the big topic for today. I argue yes.
You argue yes that it's going to be both?
No. I argue yes that they will gain people's trust to buy at launch, and I say that because generally speaking, if you get slapped really hard on the wrist with enough like people how much revenue they lost at that launch for things being terrible, then I think that and how they've recovered from that. I don't think you walk into a new game without all of those things totally fixed and changed for the new game and ready, and making promises that you're going to make that they're not 100% there and in the game, because people are going to have your game under an absolute microscope.
Well, I mean, like, I think that, like, I think it can go either one of two ways. Either one, yes, they're going to have that locked down. Or two, a lot of the people that actually were there to make sure that happened aren't with that company anymore, and we're going to get the same shit release. More likely, what you said I think is actually going to come true than the pessimistic one that I just said. But also, I think the question is, like, is their reputation is the game going to release good and better than the actual release of No Man's Sky did? I think yes. Is their reputation going to hurt sales on launch? I think yes.
Sure.
I think people are going to look at what's it called? Light No Fire? Light
No Fire, yeah.
Yeah, Light No Fire. I think they're going to look at that and they're going to say, "Oh, wow, that actually looks really cool. I'm going to but it's made by
Hello Games
Happy
or
Games?
whatever.
Hello Games, yeah. I mean, it's made by Hello Games. Maybe we wait like at least for a release."
Yeah.
It didn't stop Bethesda. Yeah, but Bethesda's
Bethesda's getting a track record for having shitty games. That's the problem, though. They are burning every bridge they have at this point. I think the game they're showing it off right now looks really pretty. It's already walking in multiplayer. Like, they're telling people it's going to be multiplayer. my question is it going to be one massive world that everybody's a part of? Or is it going to be a generated world that you and your friends are a part of and you are running through your generator world, kind of like a Minecraft type deal?
One thing I think they can definitely pull from is a game that's out right now in early access that's going to be that has a similar feel and that's Enshrouded. They can definitely pull some off that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, they are. My only problem is the thing I think that they haven't learned from what they did last time is they're still speaking in the same way that they spoke when No Man's Sky released. They're promising the stars and the moon when until players are going to be able to actually see something live. I just I think that it's too early to be speaking so highly of a game that
I think they need to release a free-to-play beta release for a week as a server test before they full release. And I think if that beta test actually has what they promised and is actually really good, I think people are just gonna flock to it like fucking crazy, and they're gonna say like it's gonna be that they learned from their mistake, and it's gonna hit media and be sensationalized that way, and I think it'll be great.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's true. They could always do it early access and it can be shit and then they can just blame it on early access.
Yeah.
Which is what a
Yeah,
lot of game
exactly.
companies are doing right now, which is a really shitty way to do it. But I mean, you get money early on, and you're able to fix bugs before you call it a full release, and people have to be like, "Oh, well, I bought it knowing that it's early access." It's such a crumb way to do business, and I hate it. But the game looks really good here. I won't pull any audio, but I'll swap us over to
Trailer.
camera with video.
Camera with video.
Camera with video. So this is the early trailer. They're promising multiplayer Earth. They're saying it is the size of Earth as a planet, and they can easily house up to 8 billion people in it. My immediate question is, how do you connect with your friends to play, right? Because it's supposed to be multiplayer. People are gonna want to play with their friends. Yeah, I mean, it worked for BG3. That's true. Their PC release, their beta PC release, worked out really well for them. This looks really good. I mean, they've got flying. Is this live action? Is this actual gameplay footage of what they're doing? Again, this is very small scale, right? They don't have all the people that possibly could be in this game in the game, so you don't know what the servers are going to be able to handle. The flying looks gorgeous. I mean, this looks really pretty.
Flying on like a massive hummingbird. It does look cool. I like the mount.
It looks really good. I'll probably buy it. I played a little bit of No Man's Sky after they fixed everything, and I think it plays very well now. But again, I think the funniest thing from the No Man's Sky release is when they go, "You'll never be able to find people," and two people posted a picture in the same planet in the same area, and they couldn't see each other, and so they had to walk back it's a multiplayer game. So, but it looks good. I mean, this stuff's really interesting where it's a massive world. Like, how do you run a story in a massive world, right? I mean, obviously you got to have some kind of a story element to the game to draw people to play it, or some kind of a process forward movement in order to draw people to play it. So I'm interested to see how that works. That makes me wonder. That's why it makes me wonder if it's hey, look, it's the same symbol that they had in No Man's Sky. That's gonna be awesome. But it makes me wonder if you're gonna have your own individual servers like PAL. Yeah, it's sort of like PAL World where you can buy into servers.
I think it's gonna be more like I feel like it's gonna be. I mean, I'm speaking out of my ass. More like Enshrouded, where it is like the world is like owned by the person, whatever, and there's no like
just join in and
join
part
in,
of it.
and you can like cross your character across and stuff like that. Versus PAL World, where your character is like set to that specific server. PAL World's based off of architecture in that way, even though it's a Fortnite engine. In the way that it has like its server setup is Arc based. Um,
Right.
but I feel like that is a way to go, especially if you have capacity for servers. You can sell the server space that way and make a ton of money if your game booms. But it's otherwise it's better to make it hosted like Enshrouded is, something like that.
Right. Makes sense.
But yeah, I think
companies do. I think so. Here's my two big pieces, right? So, are there going to be people that are going to be skeptical? Of course, 100%. To think that there aren't going to be people that are going to be skeptical over such an ambitious game would be incredibly stupid. What I think is going to happen, though, I think those who are actively still playing No Man's Sky right now, I don't think that a company can come in and make the changes that it made to No Man's Sky and then walk into a game like Light No Fire and say, yeah, we're just going to do what we did back in No Man's Sky. Right? I mean, like, they're obviously going to have to show some kind of a positive production forward and show that, like, this game is ready. And I think that's going to come from beta access, so being able to get the game early to see what it plays like. I think it's going to come heavily from media review, so live gameplay from media review players once the embargo lifts. I wouldn't be surprised if they lift the embargo a month before the game releases to give companies enough time to really spruce it up, and then they can turn around out in 2 weeks before it releases and say, hey, look, IGN and GameFAQs have said great things about this game and how well it plays and what's going to be like, and all this stuff. And I think that will be a very positive for them, and will help drive sales for that final 2 weeks before release. So I think that we're going to see an early embargo lift. Hello Games, if you're listening, I will take a demo copy and we could talk about it on the podcast. I'm not afraid to do that. Yeah. I think that you'll see a lot more Twitch streamers getting early access. You'll see a lot more media getting early access, and I think you'll see early embargo lifts in order to help promote good sales for its launch. I think they're going to be very strategic about a launch date, and they're not going to chance a launch date against another big AAA game. And so they will make sure that it's in a quiet time of year. Even if it's an off time of year, it gives people a reason to buy the game.
Yeah, I think the lead up to the game launch is that much more important for this game specifically, and their marketing. Sure. They're going to have to be really smart about their marketing. Any game that's not marketed well isn't going to perform well, especially this game though.
Right.
They need to. There are positives that they have completed. There's challenges they've done and pushed through, and they can leverage those to increase their marketing, and they need to. They need to really amplify on, sit down and like tunnel in on that, I feel. Although I could definitely see them just ignoring it though as well.
Yeah. I my hope is that they learn, right? That they learn from their past, and that things aren't the same, and that they'll do the right thing for their people. So, Gibbles, do you have anything else to talk about?
Optimistic. Nothing much. Let's just catch up for a second. What have you been up to, man?
Man. Okay, so I started running through my JP character through Endwalker, so I'm gonna be ready for Dawn Trail. I might try to do some P9 through P12S in JP. We'll see. I don't know yet. I haven't had a chance to really like take a look at what the lag is for me at this point, like what the ping lag is.
Have you checked your ping?
Well, my lag hasn't been terrible when I'm pinging directly to Tokyo, so it hasn't been too bad to think about. I'm on fiber, so I'm on like a really fast brand new fiber setup anyway, so my hope is that I'm hitting backbones pretty quickly. My EU experience wasn't bad, so I'm hoping that I have a pretty similar experience to what the EU experience was. I have been playing a ton of Switch in my free time when I've been traveling. I have been watching a ton of anime, just because it's been there to watch. So Demon Slayer, My Hero, and Kaiju number 8 have all been on my top watch lists every week, and I just started reading JJK at the behest of Gibbles and Valrin. We are, and we have talked. Gibbles and I have talked about this. We are going to take one episode in the near future, bring Val on, and just do an anime discussion episode. We'll talk about all the weeb stuff and everything in between, old anime, new anime. We'll just make a really long podcast of it. Maybe I'll have to take off Tuesday or something so that I don't kill myself the next morning, because I'm sure that podcast is going to be like 3 to 4 hours long. Because we probably could talk about anime.
You gotta get a chapter 261.
Yeah, I have to get everything caught up. That's the plan. But yes, we were gonna do an offshoot anime episode, and have our wonderful friend Valrin, who is an absolute weeb, join us for that discussion, and she has already graciously accepted. So we're gonna have to figure out a time that works for her. Also, massive shout outs to Valrin, who got her DSR clear today, and I know they've been working on it. So congrats to that team. If you guys are hearing and listening, congratulations on your clears, and I hope for many more for you guys, so that you guys can get all the weapons that you want. I know you guys have been struggling, so Kim and Valrin, congratulations on your clears. But other than that, I've just been kind of chilling. School year ended for the 2 older kids, so I've got those boys in the house for the entire summer, which is going to be super fun. And then soccer wrapped up this week for them, so I've been able to relax on the weekends a little bit more and not have to focus so much on trying to get to and fro, that I can actually start focusing on some things that I have been wanting to do. My plan is to get back into Final Fantasy VII over the next few weeks before release. So my schedule plan is to do 7 Remake until Elden Ring DLC drops, and then I'll do Elden Ring DLC. I'm probably going to do that one offline and online, so I'm going to keep that going through. And then obviously we have the week of Dawn Trail. I will probably be streaming 12-hour days on Dawn Trail to get through the story, and then to just bust a bunch of characters through the story. So you might, if you catch me at the wrong time, you might be calling me a scene skipper, but I will have seen it and read it once on stream, and every other character I'm just going to race through it, just to get them through so I can get them ready for raid. This morning, shout out to Luna, who's here in chat, and Aki, Awkward Monsters, and Narn Omega. We had an awesome, super fun board game day this morning, where like 5 or 6 of us jumped into Tetsuya's and Aki's streams, and we just played board games for a few hours. It was super fun. It was super chill. We all had a good time, and we definitely learned the value of a really good built deck.
It's all about the good deck, you know.
You always have to have a good deck. That's right. It's all about that good deck. What about you, Gibbles? I know you got a hard carry on one of the hardest bosses in Monster Hunter, huh?
Okay, I didn't get carried. Okay, I got carried first time. I didn't get carried the next time. All right, so if you've been in my channel, like 3 weeks ago, we were playing Elden Ring. I was doing a dagger only playthrough, and we were talking about just like a bunch of different things. And I was talking about video games and mentioned how like I think Monster Hunter in a lot of ways is harder than Souls games. And then all of a sudden we all started talking about Monster Hunter, and I was like, you know what? Let's load Monster Hunter World. And we started playing it on the PlayStation. That's where I had my save. And I tried to kill Fatalis because that was where I left off, because I stopped playing for 4 years. And I got my ass kicked because I just couldn't do enough damage, and I just didn't have like a build made for him. And then we were talking about it, and we found out like we actually have like some people who wanted to play on PC, and me and my friend Pedro, who were actively playing at that moment, both own it on PC. So for the last 3 weeks, I've gone through the entirety of Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, and we killed Fatalis. And yes, the first time I got carried so hard. So I didn't realize who this guy was in my channel or in my chat. His name is Ramos Network. You can see him on YouTube sometimes too. Um, and I he kept on saying like, carry me through Fatalis, and I was like, I'll try, my guy. I'm gonna get carried myself. Yeah, he carried me so fucking hard. It was only afterwards I found out he was a beta tester for a mod team that makes harder versions of Fatalis, and I was like, oh shit. Yeah, he didn't cart once. I carted like 5 times. But yesterday went back in, and I beat Fatalis with I carded once. So I am fine. I am free. I cleared it without being carried. I'm good. I will now go back to playing Final Fantasy 14. I'm still gonna be playing World, but I can take a break.
Awesome. But yeah, so we are I'm excited for the anime episode. I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be super fun. I'm getting through the manga right now for JJK. That's the stipulation. I have to be current on JJK knowledge, and we're gonna put massive spoilers. I only have it on PS5. I don't have a capable PC to run it, otherwise I would run it with you guys, but I am absolutely all for it. I told Gables that I'll play Monster Hunter if I can get some people to play with, so I'm not playing by myself.
So cheap.
Yeah,
so
we're definitely gonna get, once
so
I get caught up to date with JJK, we'll talk about doing the talk about scheduling the anime episode 100%. Before we drop though, I do want to drop a shout out for Mama Squirrel. For those who are still here, please follow Mama Squirrel. Mama Squirrel's doing a dono for it's a donation charity that takes care of other streamers that aren't doing well, and so Mama Squirrel is doing a donation service for Tatsuya Inc., who is a friend of this stream and a friend of other streams. Team Pick Me Up is the name of the foundation, and they are, I know Tatsuya's been dealing with some health issues, so they're going to try to help her with some of the health issue stuff. Please take the time and follow as many people as you can that I've shouted out in my chat, at least. And if you get absolutely only one person, please pick up Mama Squirrels, and I promise she'll pick up the rest of them through time. They're all great streamers, and if you need something to watch during your daily workday, a lot of them stream during the day, so they're great afternoon or office time distractions. But yes, the big thing is But the big thing is, please, if you have the ability, help support small streamers. That's always the big thing. And remember that likes are free, so even if you don't walk through, it still helps numbers if you're just dropping a follow. But yeah, I'm good. Once again, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks when we have another episode. I'll be back tomorrow with some Final Fantasy Remake. Gibbles, I think you're going to be back tomorrow. Are you going back to Elden Ring, or are you doing more Final Fantasy 14 again?
Tomorrow I'm going to be doing Final Fantasy. Today I'm actually going to go live right after this and do some more Monster Hunter.
There you go.
But I'm going to be trying to get I will be trying to do Ukab tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll see if I can do some ultimates in Party Finder. If Party Finder is just not my friend, well, it'll just be chill doing some leveling. I still have 4 classes to level. I will be cobbing. Alex, you want to join me? You join me on the cob?
I also, if Narn picks up streaming Final Fantasy 14 again, I'll probably be in his stream quite a bit. He and I are running him through the rest of Endwalker and trying to get him into Endgame Savages. So, Gibbles, I might be tapping you to help out if you got time.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, guys, thank you guys for joining once again. Have a great night. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.
Bye.